Hey everybody, this is Tyler from the library. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make falling gravity, which is great for a game where you're trying to keep an object afloat in the air without hitting the ground or the ceiling and other floating objects. So let's get started. So the first one I'm going to show you is a type of gravity where you hit the A button and your object goes up, but then immediately starts falling. So this is really good for if you're making a game similar to Flappy Bird. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you how you can add that code to your game. So I've already got some code loaded in here, which is the background color and a sprite of kind player. So what we want to do is add some gravity that makes our sprite fall to the ground, and then we're also going to add a button action when we press the A button that our sprite goes up. So first thing I'm going to do is add some gravity, and I'm going to go under sprites and then click on set sprite X to 0. And I'm going to change this X value. I'm going to change it to AY acceleration Y. And as a reminder, Y goes up and down, and that's why we're changing this, because we want our sprite to go down. And for a sprite to go down, we need a positive number. I'm just going to set this to 300 to start out with. So if I were to redo this, you're going to see our sprite fall through the game. And to prevent it, we just want our sprite to stay on screen for now. So I am going to grab that block that makes my sprite stay on screen. Where is it? I know past it. Right here. Set my sprite, stay on screen, and you'll see it's in the ground now. Perfect. So the next step is we want our sprite to, when we hit the A button, to go up. So I'm going to go into controller. I'm going to grab on A button pressed. I'm going to go back to sprites. I'm going to grab another set my sprite X to 0. And next I'm going to do velocity. And I'm going to pick a number. We want to go up, so we need to be a negative number. I'm just going to start out with negative 100. I'm going to refresh, and now when I press A, my sprite goes up. I can press A as I want and hit the ceiling. When I immediately let go, it falls to the ground. So there's a quick note about acceleration versus velocity. So acceleration is changing how fast our sprite is falling. So the bigger the number here, the faster it'll fall. So if I were to do something like 500, you're going to see the sprite, and you can see I have to press A a lot more to change that. It's going to fall a lot faster. I'm going to change that back to 300. And what is this doing? So for every second, the sprite is falling 300 pixels down. And that's going to compound, so every second it's going to be 300 more until it gets to, until it hits the bottom. And why velocity was doing, it is changing the velocity at what it's falling, and it's going to be a set number. So it's going to go up a negative 100 pixels straight away. And that's why we don't use acceleration here, because if we use acceleration here, it would just be kind of counteracting each other, and you wouldn't get that jump like we're seeing here. And again, you can use a smaller negative number, so you can change this to negative 200, and you'll get a bigger jump. And you see that right there. Or you can use a bigger negative number. Oops, let's just change that to 50. And you see I'm getting a much smaller jump. I have to press A a lot more to stay afloat. All right, so the next one I want to show you is how you can keep a sprite like floating, just kind of in the screen and not so much like a jump. So let's go to that one next. So our sprite is falling like it was in the example before, but now when I press A, I'm holding A and it is changing our speed up, and when I let go, it falls. But you notice it's kind of gradual, and it gets a little bit more speed as it goes along, and that's because we're only using acceleration. So this is a good one if you just want your sprite really just to kind of float in the air without falling as fast as the previous one. check out the hot air balloon game in the blocks game section to see this in action. So let's get started and I'll show you how you can add this in your code too. So I'm reusing some of the code from last time, changing my background, got my sprite, and I'm also telling it to stay on screen. And next I want to go back, I want to grab another one of these, set my sprite X. I'm going to change the acceleration again. I'm going to use a much smaller number this time, still positive, so it's going to fall down. But it's going to stay, I'm going to use a smaller number. And then I'm also going to, we're going to use a controller again. Because when I press A, I want my sprite to go up. And I'm going to go back, I'm going to grab another one of these. I'm going to change this sex. And this time I am going to use acceleration. So, because I don't want my sprite to kind of like jump or do a hop in the air. I just kind of want it to go a little more fluid. And so that way we're just going to use different values for acceleration to kind of counteract each other and make it kind of give that floating effect instead of a jumping effect. So I'm going to use the exact, I'm going to use -50 because I don't want it to be an extreme change. I want it to be a little more gradual, and that's why I'm going to use a smaller number than what we were using before. And then I'm going to go back to control. I'm going to grab another on A button pressed, and I'm going to grab another one of these set X values. I'm going to change it to Y acceleration. And you'll notice this one is grayed out, and that is because these are counteracting each other. They can't be doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to change this from pressed to released. So when I press this button, my sprite will go up, and when I release it, it will fall. And I'm going to put -50. So they're going to fall and raise at the exact same rate. So let's refresh that. And now you see when I press A, they start going up, and it's a little more gradual. I'll gain speed as I go. But I can kind of get a little bit more floating effect and a jump. So that's it. There's two new ways you can do gravity, and especially falling gravity, which I said before is great for games that allow you, the characters, to stay in the air without hitting obstacles or the ground. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found this helpful.